On Beyond the Gates, when Leslie crowned herself Willy Wonka, Isaiah had an unclear number of dependents, and Randy freaked that Joey had become a member of the Bloodhound Gang. On Beyond the Gates, Andre and Donnie were in Los Angeles. He awoke to find his bride staring out from the balcony. Donnie wanted to catch the LA sunrise, and she and Andre agreed that their sudden honeymoon was befitting of their entire unconventional marriage. Andre loved Dana's impulsiveness, and Donnie appreciated that Andre was able to pull her back from getting too out there, all while maintaining an honest relationship with her. In that spirit, Andre told Donnie about how Ashley had broken up with Derek and tried to pick up where she left off with him. Donnie wondered why. Andre had waited until they were on their trip before he'd said anything. Andre told the uncertain Donnie that Ashley's reunion attempt had made him realize how much it was Donnie he wanted to be with. Their marriage had started as a joke, but it was now something freeing and real. The Richardsons made a point of choosing each other. After hearing how Derek had faked paralysis to hold on to Ashley, Donnie couldn't deny how Bill had driven her to do her own crazy things. Her relationship with Andre felt so much better. Andre and Donnie made love. Afterwards, he remarked that her hand was as naked as she was. He wanted them to revisit the idea of getting legitimate wedding rings that were as unique as their marriage. Donnie booked a consultation with a Los Angeles jeweler she knew, but he wasn't available until that afternoon. The newlyweds once again found a more carnal way to fill their time. Bill grumbled when Caroline brought him herbal tea instead of the coffee he wanted. He got the sense that Carolyn and Haley were conspiring to limit him to healthier beverages after all. They had already plotted to use Tomas to make Bill jealous. Tomas, sitting nearby, nearly went green with discomfort. Kat found Haley dining alone at the country club and wanted her aunt's former rival to tell her how a homewrecker's mind worked. Haley reiterated that she had only been a woman who had fallen in love. Haley's casual answer made Kat feel like she had come to the right person. And Kat described the problems she was having with Ted, and especially Eva, who had been moving in on Tomas. Haley loved the office gossip, but Kat said she was only trying to prevent Eva from doing to her what Leslie had done to her parents. Mrs. Hamilton replied that if Ted's marriage to Nicole and Bill's marriage to Donnie had been solid, it would have lasted. Haley had only gotten in because there had been cracks in the union between Bill and Donnie, and Haley advised Kat to fill in any cracks her relationship with Tomas had. Kat expressed sincere thanks to Haley and rushed out. Isaiah, fresh off a workout, conversed with Jacob in the lobby, relaying how he'd put his foot in it by assuming that Haley was Bill's niece. Jacob laughed but warned his brother to steer clear of Haley, explaining how, while Isaiah had been gone, Haley had befriended Naomi and stolen her father from her mother. Isaiah wasn't interested in Haley. He had been hanging out with Eva, but that also had Jacob concerned. Despite the advice to be careful, Isaiah felt that Eva was being unfairly blamed for the things Leslie had done. After Jacob left, Haley approached Isaiah, who had been told by Jacob about the dinner she and Bill had had with Jacob and Naomi. When Isaiah commented that he and Haley were practically family, Haley cooed at him not to think of her that way. Hearing that Jacob had filled in some blanks about her to Isaiah, Haley added that she had been living in a rented room when she'd started working as Bill's receptionist. Now, though Haley had always dreamed of moving amongst the elite like she was able to now, she noted that, like Isaiah, she hadn't come from that world. Isaiah didn't think Haley had been shallow for wanting to gallivant in country clubs and conveyed that he had always told his kids to dream big. When Haley, clearly astonished, asked how many children Isaiah had, Isaiah said he could only give her a rough estimate before correcting that he was talking about the students he guided as an academic advisor. Haley mentioned to Isaiah how she had heard about him rejecting getting into law enforcement like the rest of his family. Isaiah didn't realize that Haley got that close to the firm's clients, but she purred that Isaiah was more than a client, because they were connected through Jacob and Naomi. Haley said she could use a friend like Isaiah. Since he understood what it was like to have a less than stellar reputation, he responded that he didn't judge and that he was open to a friendship. Haley could barely contain herself afterwards. Haley received a call from a panicky Randy, who reported that Joey had been questioning him about knowing Haley before their supposed first meeting during her miscarriage. The cousins argued about how Joey could have caught on, and Randy berated Haley for not sticking to his cover story that they were sleeping together. Haley scoffed that no one would have believed it. Randy pressed Haley to come up with a new piece of convincing fiction before Joey figured out the truth. At the hospital cafeteria, Jacob ran into a coffee-drinking Bill, who asked Jacob not to think to the health-minded Haley. Jacob amiably said that wasn't a big enough secret to keep, but seemed to imply that either Bill or Haley were keeping secrets from each other. Bill didn't like Jacob's tone and inquired further. Jacob tried to deflect, but Bill noticed that his son-in-law couldn't look him in the eye. So Jacob told Bill about the text Haley had gotten regarding her prescription for birth control pills, which Naomi had seen. Jacob's inner alarm had gone off. Since Haley had been so vocal about once again trying to have a baby with Bill, Bill noted that he already knew about the pills. Haley was taking them to regulate her hormones, which had been uneven since her miscarriage. Jacob was glad things were on the level and reflected that if both in a relationship weren't on the same page about parenthood, it could cause problems. Bill didn't like that Jacob and Naomi were still suspicious of Haley and barked that Jacob should concentrate on his own marriage. As Bill had picked up on the tension between Jacob and Naomi at dinner the previous evening, when Jacob wouldn't say what was wrong, Bill said he would ask Naomi about it personally. Learning that Naomi was fine, Bill asked Jacob if he had cheated. Jacob snarked that infidelity was Bill's thing, not his. The officer wouldn't discuss his marriage with the lawyer, but did say that one unexpected event could derail even the most sturdy of relationships. Kat texted Tomas and got him to meet her at the club. He seemed reluctant to talk about their troubles, but Kat revealed that she had come to realize that her problem with Eva was exactly that, hers. She didn't want to turn into a crazy person every time. Eva came up and announced that she was considering talking to Nicole in regard to it. After all, Kat said Nicole had found a way to forgive Eva. Maybe Kat could find out from her how she'd done it. Tomas was thrilled and assured Kat that they were still building something together. Kat asked Tomas if he was back to 100% where his groin was concerned. Tomas informed his girlfriend that he had been given the all clear and accepted her summons to have dessert at her place, asking Kat if she'd promised to be gentle. At Orphe Jeans, Leslie presented a box to Eva, who hoped it didn't contain another new wig. When Eva next guessed that Leslie was passing out noise-canceling headphones to everyone, disturbed by the thunderous construction of her house, Leslie showed Eva the block of Winterfest tickets she had been entrusted with by Anita to address and mail out. Leslie decided that meant she could decide who received an invitation and who didn't. Leslie saw Jan and Mona entering. Jan waved back while Mona turned away. Eva thought that Leslie should make amends with Mona. Leslie liked the idea, labeling Mona the biggest Dupree suck-up surely. To Leslie's way of thinking, once Mona found out that she was BFFs with Anita, Mona would come around. Meanwhile, Mona couldn't fathom why Jan had forgiven Leslie and resurrected a friendship with her, especially after Leslie had run Laura off the road and poisoned her. Jan observed that Leslie had never been charged, and that she preferred to give people the benefit of the doubt. It wasn't like everyone wasn't capable of doing terrible things, Jan opined, highlighting the example of how good guy Derek had pretended to still be paralyzed to keep Ashley at his side. The friends discussed Winterfest and how Jan, who moved outside of Fairmont Crest's circles, never had been able to attend despite wanting to. Eva was upset that Leslie was so focused on Mona and Jan, that she didn't appear to be interested in what was going on in Eva's own life. Leslie already knew that Eva had her eye on Isaiah, as Leslie had met him. Eva desperately hoped that Leslie hadn't said anything to mess things up. The elder Thomas declared that Eva had gotten her good taste from her mama, and Eva was surprised that Leslie approved of Isaiah, since he was a do-gooder. Leslie answered that, with she and Eva now having their own money, Eva could think about her heart instead of whether or not a man could support her. When Isaiah arrived, Eva engaged him in conversation and talked about how nice it must be for him to be so close to his brother. Isaiah corrected that he and Jacob had a complicated relationship. Eva could relate via her experience with Kat. When Isaiah smiled that Eva had been feeling her sister's man, Eva admitted that she and Tomas were friends now, though they had hooked up at one point. After Eva explained how she